Let me ask you something. If I asked you what changed in your life in the last 12 months, would you struggle to answer? Same routines, same worries, same conversations. That's not failure. That's repetition. Most people don't feel lost. They feel paused. Life isn't falling apart, but it's not moving either. Days pass, weeks pass, and nothing feels different enough to remember. That's how people wake up one day and realize 10 years disappeared. They go to work, they come home, they watch a show, and they do it all over again. The scenery is the same, the conversations are the same, and the problems are the same. It's a loop. And the worst part is, it's a quiet loop. No one tells you you're in it. You just feel this vague sense of dissatisfaction, this feeling that time is slipping through your fingers, but you can't quite put your finger on why. It's not a crisis. It's a quiet hum of stagnation that becomes the background noise of your life. Here's why this happens, why life starts to blur. Your brain measures life by contrast. When nothing changes, your memory has nothing to hold on to, so it fades. That's why your childhood feels so long. Everything was new. First day of school, first bike ride, first sleepover. Each day was distinct. And that's why adulthood feels so fast. Not because time speeds up, but because everything starts to look the same. Repetition makes life invisible. Your commute, your meetings, your weekends, they blend into one long, indistinguishable stretch of time. Your brain, in an effort to be efficient, just stops recording the details. It already has the file for another Tuesday. It doesn't need a new one if nothing is different. This cognitive shortcut is what steals decades from us. Now, let's talk about the error that feels so responsible. Most people think stability is the ultimate goal, so they optimize for comfort. Predictable days, a predictable income, predictable routines. It looks mature. It feels safe. And for a while it works. But over time, comfort turns into quiet stagnation. Nothing breaks. But nothing grows either. The problem with building a life that is perfectly stable is that it leaves no room for the unexpected. No room for the kind of friction that creates new stories and new versions of ourselves. You become so good at avoiding risk that you also avoid opportunity. You're not in danger, but you're also not truly alive in the way you once were. Your world shrinks not because it has to, but because you've carefully curated it to be small and manageable. This is why motivation never seems to work. Motivation assumes you need more energy. You don't. You already do what's required. You get up, you go to work, you take care of your responsibilities. The problem isn't a lack of effort. It's that your effort leads nowhere new. You can't feel motivated about a future that looks identical to the past. Trying to pump yourself up to run on the same hamster wheel, just a little faster, is exhausting and pointless. The fuel isn't the issue, the destination is. You reach trying to find excitement in a map where all roads lead back to where you started. It's a trap. You think, if I just try harder, I'll feel better. But you're just digging yourself deeper into the rut. This leads to that awful feeling of being behind. People say they feel behind all the time. But behind what exactly? There's no universal timeline for life. There's no official schedule for when you're supposed to have it all figured out. What they really mean when they say this is something much more personal. They expected life to feel different by now. Not necessarily richer or more successful, just different, more vibrant, more meaningful. And when it doesn't, that frustration turns inward, and you start to believe you're the problem. You start to think you're failing, but you're not failing. You're just stuck on a page, waiting for someone to give you permission to turn it. So here's the shift in thinking. You don't need a big, dramatic change. You don't need to quit your job and move to another country unless you want to. You just need a new signal. Something small that tells your brain, hey, pay attention. This year is not the same as the last one. Progress isn't about speed. It's about divergence. It's about breaking the pattern. One small decision that breaks the pattern is infinitely more powerful than 10 resolutions you will all forget by February. It's the act of consciously choosing a different path, no matter how small, that tells your mind and your life that a new chapter has begun. So what really creates a new year in your life any day you choose? A year truly changes when you introduce one uncomfortable commitment, like signing up for a class where you know no one. A year changes when you remove one familiar escape, like deleting the app you scroll through every night. A year changes when you measure your time by what you create, not by the hours you work. And a year changes when you build something, Anything that didn't exist before: a skill, a project, a relationship. The thing is, most people wait for permission to do these things. They wait for the right moment, for a sign from the universe. But permission never comes. And so the years repeat quietly, one after another. If this video feels personal, that's because repetition feels invisible until someone names it. It's the silent thief of time that we all experience but rarely discuss. Subscribe if you want ideas that interrupt patterns, not just another dose of hype. You're not failing. You're just living the same year again, and the moment you decide to change the pattern, time slows down.